expressed in this program by the host or guests do not state or reflect those of the company, its management, sponsors, or any entities they represent.
Oh, it's lit. We prime time. Subscribe, like, and share. Give us your feedback. Yo, I'm Manny at the plate and Kobe off a steal. Gretzky for the goal and Brady at the wheel. I'm a game changer, the Osaka of the tennis, and breaking scoreboards. Simone of the Olympics, defense and big business. The Mayweather who way better. From the greatness of Jim Brown, I've been down. Talking sports before I was off the porch, screaming Bo knows while Jordan was playing horse. Late 80s getting torched by the drive and the shot. 2016 got a ring off the 3 in the block. They eased to forgot the cardiac kids, Price and Doherty, Bell in the Indian years. This who it is, your host DeeTrynt, yo, that's a name banger. Come in the streets and talk sports with the game changer. Yo, your host DeeTrynt, that's a name banger. Come in the streets and talk sports with the game changer.
DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, InDaStreetzSportz. Man, what's really good? What's popping? Happy New Year. It is now 2024. All right? 2023 is over. I don't know what 2023 did for you, but I hope it was great for you. And for those that it wasn't great for, I hope 2024 is phenomenal for you. All right? We're only 2 days in. It's only 2 days in, but this is about the peak of sports time, right? You got NFL teams establishing their playoff positions. You got the NBA now getting towards the middle of the season. Everybody's getting ready for All-Star Weekend. It's the same thing with the NHL. Baseball is about to start up their training and all that. College football, bowl games, college basketball is at that little window where everybody about to start talking about March Madness. Okay, this is peak sports season. This is great for everybody. All right, I am DeeTrynt. This is Game Changer Sports Talk on InDaStreetzSportz, streaming on multiple media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Follow us on IG at InDaStreetzSportz or at DeeTrynt. If wherever you viewing from, all right, there will be a link in the chat. Hit the link if you want to come up, show your face, talk with me, see what's going on, share your ideas, or you could just get in the chat and comment. You know what I'm saying? We can do either or. We read the comments out loud. It's okay, all right? And if you missed the live streamings, you can catch the replays on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, and various other streaming platforms. Just look for InDaStreetzSportz. Click like, share, follow. Once you go in there, you can find Game Changer Sports Talk with DeeTrynt. It's been a minute though. It's been a minute, right? For me, life just been lifing. It's usual, man. Came back home, been home for a couple months. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to get everything together up this way. Get some things established. Still getting reacclimated back to the city, which has been a different adjustment than I thought it was gonna be. I ain't seen snow in years. Okay, I ain't seen snow and I don't know how long. So just getting back used to having to deal with this cold weather, and various other things. It's just been different. It's just been different. So I haven't been going streaming as much as I should have been. But I have been keeping up as much as I can. I ain't been the thoroughest with it lately, but I've been keeping up where I can keep up, okay? And let me tell you, the most standout out thing of everything going on, the most standout thing is the Browns are in the playoffs. Yes, solidified spot. Ain't no contingency plan. J.O. the show. What's good, Johnny baby? Yeah, man, playoff football is back, bro. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Johnny. Playoff football is back in Cleveland. They do not understand how important that is to the city of Cleveland. They don't know. They do not understand what it's like. All right. This year, at the beginning of the year, who gave the Browns a chance, right? Oh, the Bengals. They're the darlings of the AFC North. And they're going to beat everybody. Because Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase with T. Higgins, nobody's going to stop them, man. Nobody can stop them. Oh, Lamar just got read up on his money. They got Odell Beckham Jr. Zay Flowers is a dog. Oh, they got the best defense player in the league. Nobody's going to stop the Baltimore Ravens. But we don't know if Lamar Jackson can throw the ball. That's what they were saying, right? Oh, the Steelers have had the Browns numbers for decades now. They'll never be able to beat the Steelers, at least not when it counts anyway. You can't beat the Steelers. No, the Browns can't. They're overrated. They're overrated. No, the Browns are overrated. Oh, the coach. Oh. Let me not even get on a lot of my fellow fan base members. My fan mates. Is that a good term? My fan mates. Can I get on there? Oh, Kevin Stefanski. He's a horrible coach. No, he needs to get out of here. They need somebody else who can do the job. Oh, Andrew Berry can't draft. All this, it's a bust. It's a bust. He can't do anything. They were just bagging on the Browns all year. Oh my God, they gave Deshaun Watson $230 million guaranteed. He doesn't even throw for 300 yards a game. He doesn't. Okay? He doesn't look the same. He's not the same guy that he was back in 2020. You know, he's not that guy. You know, I mean, they could win with him. You know, they could win with him, but he's not that guy. What's going to happen this season? Right? Browns lose Chubb. Back and forth having Watson. We running with PJ Walker. Dorian Thompson-Robinson getting a chance to play. They didn't call up a 38-year-old Joe Flacco. They didn't brought back Kareem Hunt. Okay? They didn't traded Donovan Peoples-Jones. We lost Jed Wills and Jack Conklin for the year just to have Thanos step up and DeJuan Jones to lose him for the rest of the year. Had to bring in some other left tackle off the street. We had to let Hudson get his start on, okay? Weipler and Nick Harris has found a role, even though they're backup. They've found starter minutes in the offense, okay? David Njoku has done everything except fully blossomed, all right? Because he's peaking. Amari Cooper has just shown all year that he's a silent killer. He's the number one when you get in the ball, right? And what has all that culminated to? What has it all added up to? It is added up to the fact that the Browns are 11-5 with one game left in the season. And if it wasn't for one or two, just one or two plays in the season, the Browns, with all that being said, could have the number one seed in the NFL. Crazy, right? I mean, we've had bad fumbles, bad interceptions. We've had, oh my God, like the Browns have been through everything. Us Browns fans have been through so much BS with the team this year. But even with all that said, we're going to the playoffs. We, Cleveland Browns, are going to the playoffs. We are in the dance, all right? And unlike most years, you know, and I mean, there ain't been a lot of them. It's just been a few. But unlike most years, when we go, we'll get a chance to get into the playoffs. They're not talking that, oh, your team's young. They don't know how to win. Oh, they ain't been together as long as the other teams that's competing and been there before. Oh, they don't got the talent. You're not saying none of that this year. None of that's going on. Right now, out of any other time that the Browns have ever been a part of the NFL established part of American football, the Browns arguably out of every team have one of the best chances to win the Super Bowl. Yes, I can say that in a sentence legitimately. These Browns, these Northeast Ohio, off Lake Erie, Cleveland Browns, got one of the best chances of winning the Super Bowl. Why is that? Why is that? Out of 11 wins, 6 will come from behind. 5 to 6 come from behind. At least 6 to 7 of these wins were one score wins, right? We blew out a few teams, about 4 teams got whooped. All right. Couple games we lost that we should have won. We've not had Myles Garrett, or not had Denzel Ward, or not had Newsome, or not had the safeties. I think Grant Delpit's still out. Okay. But even with all that being said, these Browns look like this could be that year. All right. This city needed that from the Browns. We needed it. Well, on top of that, the team needed it. The personnel needed it. The ownership needed it. The front office needed it. They all needed it, man. Just for confidence. Just to know that all the hard work you putting in, regardless of all the bullshit, is still it was for something. You know what I mean? DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, InDaStreetzSportz, streaming on multiple media platforms. Right now, we talking Browns, man. We just talking Browns clinching playoff berth, going into this last week of the season. Cover a little bit about, who might play, who might not play. We might even we probably gonna get into some who should get what awards type of things. We're gonna go over some stats and all that type of thing. So share, like, follow. If it's been a minute since you've seen me, it's a pleasure seeing you back. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you streaming from or viewing from, like I say, the link is in the comments. You can chop it up and type it up, or you can hit the link and you can come up here and we can chop it up. All right. But I was looking at some stats, right? I'm looking at some stats, and I'm looking at Cleveland stats right now. The Cleveland stats that I'm looking at right now is referenced from ESPN. All right, I'm on the ESPN app. So if it's a little bit off of something, don't trip. But everybody's usually in the same ballpark, right? And I'm looking at this, and I say, damn, the Browns have had 4 different quarterbacks, all right? Flacco is thrown for 13 touchdowns. Watson is thrown for 7. Walker's thrown for 1. Robinson throws for 1. The crazy part is, if it wasn't for Dorian Thompson-Robinson's one game where he threw all his interceptions, and PJ Walker's 2 games where he virtually threw those interceptions, these numbers look a lot better. But Cleveland quarterbacks have thrown for 3,800 yards this year, almost 3,900 yards, 22 touchdowns, 21 interceptions, and were sacked 42 times. Okay? That is like the back end of the spectrum, right? That's not usually how the stats look for a playoff team, from that position. You say, oh, that's Jekyll and Hyde, but that's 4 different quarterbacks. If we just go with the 2 main quarterbacks, Flacco is 13 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Deshaun Watson is 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So that's virtually like 20 and 12 from those 2 guys. All right. Nick Chubb went down so early in the season. Um, you know, it almost feel like he's been going for 2 seasons. Um, for real, for real. And with that being said, Jerome Ford is like 193 yards away from getting 1,000 yards on the season. Okay. I think that's amazing. I want to take this time out to give Jerome Ford his credit. All right. He's played 16 games. He's touched the ball 200 times. He has 800 yards, 4 yards of carry, 4 rushing touchdowns. All right. Um, and even on the receiving side, give Jerome Ford credit. 60 targets, 42 catches, 293 yards, 7 yards of reception, 5 receiving touchdowns. In the grand scheme of things, when you look at future of this position, Jerome Ford is a good replacement for what Kareem Hunt should have been able to give us. Okay? For what Kareem Hunt should have been able to give us. But man, I mean, you could say you got a number 2 that could get you 800 yards, 300 to 400 yards receiving, could get you 5+ touchdowns either way. Blue Lemons, what's goody? What's goody, man? Welcome, welcome. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you stay in the chat, share, like, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Let's get the conversation going. We talking Browns in the playoffs. All right. But for Jerome Ford to be able to do that, even with sharing the load, some people, you get so used to having a running back like Chubb, it's hard to see anything less. See anything less. And then the reality is every player cannot be Nick Chubb. Okay. We have to be honest about these situations. Nick Chubb is a unicorn. You know what I mean? But Jerome Ford has done his job. And he's came up in times where we needed somebody from that position to come up. Get big plays, get chunk yards, make the defense respect the speed and athleticism coming out the Browns backfield. He's done that. So shout out to Jerome Ford. Hey, I would love for Jerome Ford to have a 200-yard rushing game, multiple touchdowns, and still be able to get another 60 or 70 receiving. That would be fire to me, just so he can end his season with all those yards. All right. Another guy. So the rushing room altogether, though, right? Just wanted to highlight Jerome Ford, but let's just do the running game period for this year. So the Browns in total have ran the ball 494 times this year for a grand total of 1,913 yards. Collectively, that is an average of 3.9 yards a carry. The Browns have ran for 15 touchdowns as a unit. They're averaging almost 120 yards a game. They fumbled the ball 8 times, lost 3 of the fumbles. So the Browns rushing game has been effective. I mean, there are teams in multiple seasons who got running backs and as a collective team don't get 2,000 yards. Like for real. It's some teams that'll win the whole season and only rush for almost 1,500 yards. As a team, some teams get that one special back and they do 2,000 yards by themselves in a season. But for the Browns to be able to still throw for 4,000 yards as a unit and run for 2,000 yards as a unit and still have one of the best defenses in the league, that is a good recipe to be able to win a Super Bowl. All right? What do you have to do to be able to compete in the playoffs? You have to be able to control the clock. You have to be able to hit explosive plays. Play action is your best friend. You have to be able to get 3 and outs, get timely stops, create turnovers. You know what I'm saying? However the game goes, you have to run the ball. Can you run the ball? If we went out there and played hat on the hat, bring Nick Harris in, tight end, and have to just run Ford, Hunt, and and Pierre Strong, I think they can do it. Especially if it's a cold game, you don't gotta run Flacco. You could bring Dorian Thompson Robinson in or PJ Walker and just let them run. Right? The Browns can do that. They can just let them run. And they can run from Wildcat. They can run from the pistol. They can run from the shotgun. They can run from the 2-back set. They can run from the single back set, the 3 tight end set, the 2 tight end set, the 3 receiver set. The Browns can run the ball from every formation. That's a good thing. The Browns have at least 2 receiving threats that could break the game open, right? Let's go to this receiving core, right? Because we said the quarterbacks threw for almost 4,000 yards, all right? Let's start with Amari Cooper. 72 catches for 1,250 yards. He's averaging 17 yards a catch, 5 touchdowns total, receiving touchdowns. Longest was 75. He got 2 fumbles, but he has 271 rack yards. David Njoku. All right. I need David Njoku to have a big game as well. David Njoku is 118 yards.
They feeding the chief, man.
What's good, bro?
They put him to feed the chief, and the chief is getting fed, and he holding on to the ball. And he holding on to the ball, man. He bounced back. But do you want him? Oh no, finish what you're doing. But do you want him to play Sunday?
We go get to the players in a second for the game. And that's a great question, bro. I'm going to definitely answer that. David Njoku, 81 receiving targets. Now, wait. Let me put this in perspective. Amari Cooper has 72 receptions for 1,250 yards. But he has 128 targets. I want y'all to keep that in mind. He has 128 targets, okay? David Njoku has 81 catches for 882 yards. He's caught 6 receiving touchdowns. His longest was 43. David Njoku has 600 yards in yards after catch. Okay? 600 in yards after catch. He has 123 targets on the season. Elijah Moore has 59 receptions, 104 targets. Of 104 targets for 640 yards. 2 receiving touchdowns. His longest was 42. He has 191 yards at the catch. And then here comes Jerome Ford, the 4th leading receiver. 42 receptions, 293 yards, 5 receiving touchdowns. And he has 278 yards of yak. The first thing now standing out to me about this receiving core is they can run after the catch. Okay? For all those who don't know about playoff football, this is extremely important. Because this tells me that as long as I get you the ball, we're going to get positive play yards. As long as I get you the ball. As long as I can get this receiver in a chance to make a play is getting made. That's all you ask for is opportunity, right? That's it. Other guys on here who, probably should have more production. Cedric Tillman, 18 receptions for 38 targets, 181 yards. Jordan Atkins has 12 receptions off 17 targets for 108 yards. David Bell has 10 receptions off 19 targets for 99 yards. Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's now in Detroit, he only had 8 receptions off 18 targets. Harrison Bryant and Kareem Hunt both have 20 targets apiece for 13 and 14 receptions, respectively. Both of them got about 80 yards. So this Browns offense, right, is good enough. Okay. They do the things you need to be able to do to be able to win games when it matters. They can run and get first downs. They can throw and get first downs. They can throw off play action or run off play action for explosive plays. They can run wildcat for explosive plays. They can go straight all pass and still be impactful. Um, and when your offense is versatile like that, right? And I say versatile like that because people say, well, you just read off receivers who ain't really had no real production. You know, they got 20 targets and woody why, but all of these players can catch and can put up just about the same amount of rack yards or yak yards as the starting guys can if they got the same amount of targets. You're talking about guys who got over 100 targets, receiving targets. Moore, Cooper, Njoku. That's how it's supposed to go. They're supposed to get over 100 receiving targets. They're the top receiving threats. All right. But if you gave David Bell and Cedric Tillman, and Jerome Ford, if you gave them over 100 targets, hell, if you gave them 70 targets, they'd be effective. So if you had to go to that type of play, it's not going to bother you. You still got more in the arsenal. It was some talk. I seen something in the headline about them possibly bringing back Jarvis Landry. And I'm not opposed to having Jarvis on the team in any capacity, especially for a playoff run where something might happen and you might need a guy to come in. I'm never opposed to that. But I am opposed to you bringing in Jarvis, which basically puts somebody else on back burner. Like David Bell, they had to go through too much for him not to play and Jarvis to come in over him. I understand that Jarvis is a veteran. He's more but you can't, it's just disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Tillman, now if you did it over Tillman, that would make more sense. But we want to see Tillman. You see what I'm saying? So if Jarvis is there as emergency, locker room support, you feel me? Boom, if you got to bring him in and bring him in because it don't do nothing but help you, cool. Is it necessary? I don't know if receiver is the necessary position for that type of player. But I'm not opposed to it because it's Jarvis per se. You know what I'm saying? But it's a stipulation, right? But either way it go. This receiving core is good enough. That running back room is committee is good enough. This tight end room, with Njoku, Jordan Akins, and Harrison Bryant. And Harrison Bryant has came in multiple roles, right? He's been a receiver. He's been a short yardage quarterback. He's been a fullback. He's been a second tight end. A run blocker, a pass blocker. I mean, Harrison Bryant is virtually going through what David Njoku went through, right? David Njoku came in as this athletic guy who just need to have consistent hands. And they wasn't sure about his blocking. Then he turned into one of the best blocking tight ends in the league. Definitely on his team, but in the league. On top of being one of the most versatile all-around tight ends in this league. They're virtually doing that with Harrison Bryant. I think it's a pretty good thing. So, and then you got Joe Flacco, right? And why you got Joe Flacco? Deshaun Watson is out for the year. He won't be back till next year. Nick Chubb is out for the year. He won't be out till next year. But Joe Flacco has came in and done his thing. Now, in all fairness, Joe Flacco playing with house money, right? And I say in all fairness because there is no need to judge him. He's 38. I'm 38. And I'm going to tell you, I totally understand where Joe Flacco's coming from. Bro, listen. Joe Flacco already won a Super Bowl in this league. He's already done everything a quarterback wants to do in this league. He's been a Super Bowl MVP. He's won at a high level. He's been the top quarterback from arguably one of the better teams ever assembled. I mean, and now he's doing it for the origin franchise of the team that he did it for. I mean, he played with house money, bro. You know what I'm saying? And he run the Stefanski system, right? I spent a lot of time on the offense. Let's show love to this defense. DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, Industry Sports, streaming on multiple media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Follow us on IG at Industry Sports or at DeeTrynt. If you missed a live streaming, please catch the replays on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, and various other streaming platforms. Just look for Industry Sports. All right. Like, subscribe there. Go in, you will find Game Changer Sports Talk with DeeTrynt. Like, subscribe there. Also, we got the website, InDaStreetzSportz.com. You get the latest updates on, local athletes and things like that, special segments. If you have somebody that wants to be spotlighted, just make sure y'all hit us up at DeeTrynt.com. At DeeTrynt@gmail.com or at InDaStreetzSportz@gmail.com. All right. What's a Brown spiel? What's a giving credit where credit due? If we don't talk about this Browns defense, this defense. So the Browns did something different in the offseason. They said, hey, you know what I'm saying, Joe Woods, you've been here for a minute. You know what I'm saying? You came in with me. You know what I'm saying? It was nice having you here, my guy, but we're going to have to go in a different direction, which makes sense. Because for the type of personnel that Joe Woods was working with, he really was not getting the most out of his folks. So they bring in Jim Force. Okay? And there is a noticeable difference between the defense that played last year and the defense that played this year. All right? We do have different pieces, though. Dalvin Tomlinson came in. Shelby Harris came in. Juan Thorhill came over. Rodney McLeod came over. You know what I'm saying? And everybody else virtually was the same, more or less. We drafted Ika. Mark Emerson in his second year. Newsom in his third. This defense has been nothing short of phenomenal. Okay? When the last time a Browns linebacker had over 100 tackles in the season? When? Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah has played 16 games this season. Let's start there. 16 games this season he's played. The previous years, Owusu-Koramoah was missing this time and this time and this time. There's a difference. The scheme that Jim Schwartz is running with and the fact that there are defensive interior linemen, that defensive line draws attention all the time. When you have guys down there that draw attention like that, your linebackers could play freely. And it allows the whole back end of your defense to play a lot more freer. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah has 101 tackles to this point. All right, I'm going off ESPN stats. It could be more, it could be less, could be off by some numbers. I don't know. We had traveled to NFL.com later on and see what's popping. All right, but he has 101 tackles, 72 solo, 29 assists. 3.5 sacks, 20 tackles for loss, 6 pass deflections, 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery. That's a good linebacker. Now, in my opinion, that's definitely complement linebacker stats. But nonetheless, that's a good linebacker stats. And I say complement linebacker because Jeremiah can actually cover. And when you got a guy like that who could cover and range you on the outsides like that, he is better off being the complement linebacker so somebody else could do the dirty work so he could freeze him up to do what he does best. And in this role, he's thriving because it's not his role to do the dirty work. That is left more for Sione Takitaki and Anthony Walker. My safety. Grant Delpit. He played 13 games up to this point. 80 tackles, 63 solos, 17 assists. He has 1.5 sacks. He has 7 tackles for loss, 3 pass deflections, 1 interception, right? And a forced fumble. Okay? We talking your young linebacker and your young strong safety. All right? 2 guys that can cover tight ends and you guys you can get to cover slot players or out the backfield. That's amazing. That tells me that you got 2 guys already on this team, young. Grant Delpit just read up on his contract. I'm pretty sure Jeremiah Wusu about to get read up on his contract sometime during this offseason or maybe even during the playoffs. He's going to get a contract extension. And now you got these 2 guys locked in that's going to grow together. All right? I want you all to understand stuff. Now, I ain't got to the stars yet. But I want to give this defense their highlighted credit for what they've done this year. And I want people to see what's going on. Sione Takitaki in like his 5th year with the team. All right. He's been through Takitaki in like his 7th or 8th year with the team. Dang. When he come out? So Takitaki is 95. Yeah, so Takitaki in like his 7th year with the team. Yeah. But he has 66 tackles, 44 solo, 21 assists. He has 2 sacks. He has 3 tackles for loss, 3 pass deflections, an interception. You know what I'm saying? What does we talk about? All right. That's your other compliment. I don't know. Takitaki been with the team so long, bro. He might could pull a Bart Scott. Okay? He might could pull a Bart Scott. I think Anthony Walker he got one more year in his contract. We're going to check that out. Or this might be his last year. But if Anthony Walker, if they don't bring Anthony Walker back next year, it wouldn't shock me if they would try to put Takitaki in that role in this defense. Martin Emerson, he can play 16 games this season. Martin Emerson has 45, he has 59 solo tackles. He has 59 tackles, 45 solo, 14 assists. He has no sacks. He has 1 tackle for loss. He has 14 pass deflections. He has 4 interceptions. All right? Sophomore season. Let's go. Juan Thornhill, who has missed significant time, but he's played at least 11 games this season. He has 54 tackles. He has 54 tackles, 41 solo, 13 assists. He has 1 pass deflection. I don't think this is right, though, because I'm pretty sure Juan Thornhill has at least like 1 or 2 interceptions on the season. Was that in preseason he got that interception? But I guess this wouldn't shock me because he done missed like 5 games. But that back end's been cool. Greg Newsome. he got 34. What he got? 49 tackles, 34 solo, 15 assists. He got a half a sack. He got 4 tackles for loss. He got 14 pass deflections. He got 2 interceptions. He got 1 for a touchdown. All right. Anthony Walker Jr. that missed significant time. He didn't play 12 games. He got 44 tackles. You know what I'm saying? 23 solo, 21 assists. So he definitely in the trenches. 1 tackle for loss, 4 pass deflections. You know what I'm saying? Like listen, this defense, bro, like they've been just flying to the ball. All right. And they're led by Myles Garrett. Now, Myles Garrett has been able to just play defensive end. And I don't think people really understand how significant that is. Myles just has been able to focus on doing his job, was being disruptive in the backfield. All right, getting to the quarterback, getting to the ball carrier. They gave him 2 guys in the offseason, veteran guys that know how to play the game, with Zadarius Smith and Oronquo, double O. So Myles Garrett has 14 sacks on the season. He's played 16 games. He has 42 total tackles, 33 solo, 9 assists. Myles Garrett has 17 tackles for loss, 3 pass deflections. Myles Garrett has 4 fumble recoveries and a forced fumble and a kick block and a block kick. All right. Zadarius Smith has 5.5 sacks. He has 27 total tackles, 18 solo, 9 assists. He has 8 tackles for loss, 3 pass deflections. All right. He has 1 forced fumble. Double O Oronquo. He got 31 total tackles. He done played 13 games. Zadarius played 16 games. Oronquo done played 13 games, 31 total tackles, 22 solo, 9 assists, 4.5 sacks. All right. He got 12 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection. All right. Alex Wright, right? Second year guy. He got 19 total tackles, 11 solo. He has 4 sacks. He has 4 tackles for loss. He has 2 pass deflections. All right. He has a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. All right. Dalvin Tomlinson down here. He has 28 total tackles, 12 solo, 16 assists. He got 3 sacks. He got 4 tackles for loss. Jordan Elliott got 2.5 sacks. He got 3 tackles for loss. What I'm highlighting here, I know people are like, why are you reading this off? About this defense. A lot of these guys that I was just talking about, especially towards the end, were interior guys. You talking about your guys who play in the trenches, your strong safety, your linebackers, your defensive end, your defensive tackles. All these guys' stats are read off. They not only get in the backfield to stop plays in the backfield, they get back there to get the quarterback. They get their hands up in passing lanes to knock the ball down. As every guy on this list has pass deflections. All right. You got guys that force fumbles and pick fumbles up. You got block kicks. This defense gets added. They get added. And then that leads to the interceptions. Emerson has 4 interceptions. Denzel Ward, right? He's played 13 games. He's got 34 total tackles, 30 solo, 4 assists. He got a tackle for loss. He got 13 pass deflections. He got 2 picks, you know what I'm saying, and a fumble and a forced fumble. Okay? And you got Jeremiah with 2 picks, Newsom with 2 picks, Mike Ford with a pick, Taki with a pick, DeAnthony Bell with a pick, Maurice Hurst with a pick, Ronnie Hickman with a pick, Grant Delpit with a pick, Harmon with a pick. Bruh. This Browns, yeah. Seth say, Big Browns gang, let's go. Yes. This defense is amazing. Under the direction of Jim Schwartz, he done came in and just changed the whole profile. He's showing that they dogs, that they got that dog in them. That dog right there, they got that dog in them. It's right there, that dog in them. It's in their heart. And they baller like it, man. Man, these Browns have been, shout out Andrew Berry for keeping it together. when a lot of people thought that he didn't know what he was doing. Shout out to Kevin Stefanski through the shuffling of all the different offensive personnel you had to go through. I give him credit. He's had to go through a lot of personnel shuffling through his tenure here as a Browns head coach. And this year, he just showing that basically he can adjust to it because he didn't dealt with it before. Okay, I like seeing that. Is he coach of the year? I don't think it should be in doubt that he's coach of the year. I'm not mad if they want to say Harbaugh is coach of the year because you got to perform with what you got, right? I'm not mad that people saying Dan Campbell is coach of the year with what he's done with the Lions in a short amount of time. I'm not opposed to them doing that, but nobody's had to go through what Cleveland's had to go through. Your number one quarterback, your number one running back, your top three offensive tackles. You lost multiple top players on your line. All right, you didn't have to work without top defensive players the whole year, bruh. If you got coach of the year for going 11-5 in that first season, oh, they got to give it to you for going 12-5 in this season for sure. You say they going 12-5, they only 11-5. We're gonna get to that in a second, y'all. DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, Industry Sports, streaming on multiple media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. If you missed the live stream, let's catch the replays on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or Radio Public. Just look for Industry Sports. Once you subscribe to that, you'll see in the Game Changer Sports Talk with DeeTrynt right in there. You know what I'm saying? Same on the social platforms, Industry Sports or DeeTrynt. All right. Hold on one moment. Yo. So, all right. Let's look at these standings. All right. I was definitely on a little spiel. Hold on. Okay. We back. All right. So as I was saying, um, let's go to the standings. All right. Because I can keep throwing compliments on the Browns all day. You know what I'm saying? I went over some stats. I would just went over I just wanted to highlight different parts of the Browns, different things that probably don't get said enough, and just give credit where credit due. This organization has moved as one, and they've weathered the storm as a unit. And anybody on the personnel that couldn't handle weathering that storm as a unit, they went on ahead and let them go their separate ways, and they didn't make any waves about it. And it was next man up. And you can't have next man up without drafting the right type of skill set and having the right type of culture in there for that player to feel like they want to do everything they can to fit into what's going on. On top of still keeping guys that's already been on that roster on the practice squad, allowing them to grow. So it's a few things working here. I want to give the Browns all their credit for that, especially these players who've endured so much BS. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that, Seth. Shout out to my brother DeeTrynt, tap in, game changer 100. You already know. You know what I'm saying? But they've endured so much BS, and now they have a chance to see what weathering the storm feels like on the mountaintop level. Like they got the chance. You ask for a puncher's chance. That's all you ask for. When you get to the playoffs in the NFL, can you run the ball? Can you get stops? Can you get explosive plays? Can you control the clock? Do you have the talent to be able to show up when they need to? Does your scheme allow for your players to perform at their best when the moment needs it? Can they do it? I think the Browns can, and I think they will. But let's go to these standings, right? Because ultimately, we all wanted the Browns to, get the number 1 seed, and it's not going to work like that. We would have loved for Miami to put their hands on Ravens, but clearly they ain't got it yet, because the Ravens put 50 up on them. They wasn't playing. All right. So as it stands in the AFC, Baltimore 13-3, Miami is 11-5, Kansas City is 10-6, Jacksonville is 9-7, the Browns 11-5, Buffalo 10-6, and Indy is 9-7. Those are the top 7 spots, because what will happen if you don't know in the NFL playoffs, the number 1 seed gets a bye week. Then 2 will play 7, 3 will play 6, 4 will play 5 on wild card weekend. And that way, when those winners carry over, the winner of 4 or 5? The winner of 4 or 5 plays Baltimore. Well, that's usually how I go. But it depends on, like, seeding and division. You know what I'm saying? So it's a good chance that if the Browns win, they probably gonna see Baltimore in the second round unless something happens. Like it's crazy how it works. But anyway, you still got Houston at 9-7 with a chance to get in, Pittsburgh at 9-7 with a chance to get in. And that's really it. Yeah, everybody else is eliminated. So how this works, right? Buffalo plays Miami in week 18. If Buffalo wins, Buffalo gets the number 2 seed. Miami is locked into the playoffs, so they'll become the number 6 seed. And then they'll most likely play each other again, or Miami will probably play Kansas City, unless something changes, right? But if Buffalo loses, Buffalo could miss the playoffs altogether. They could not be in the playoffs, or they could still get like the 7th seed. If if the Colts win, the Colts are in, and the Colts play the Texans. OMG. The Colts play the Texans, so the Colts and the Texans, they kind of control. Whoever wins has a better shot of getting in. Jacksonville still has to win though, right? Jacksonville plays the Titans. The Titans has had they've just had a whatever season, right? But they can still play playoff spoiler in their division. If the Titans beat the Jaguars could miss the playoffs altogether. If I am mistaken, it's possible. I think it's a good chance, because then the winner of Indiana and Houston would get the division. But as long as the Jaguars win, they're in, right? Pittsburgh plays the Ravens. If Pittsburgh beats the Ravens, it's a good chance Pittsburgh's in. And everybody can't win. That's the key. Everybody can't win. So what does Baltimore want to do? Does Baltimore, knowing they have a bye week, want to take their starters out there and not let Pittsburgh in the playoffs at all? Do they let Lamar Jackson go out there and just let that team just run amok knowing that they got the bye week anyway? Or do they take 2 weeks off to let their players heal? Do they let them play half of the game? Put the game out of reach, then put the reserves in? I think that would be my strategy. Offense, we gonna go out there and we gonna hit them with all the heavy shit. We just gonna go out there to run the score up. We only going to run the score up. Period. If you have, matter of fact, that is my whole argument for every team with a guaranteed playoff spot for their last game. Go in there, and your job is to put the game out of reach in the first quarter. We are playing aggressive football the first quarter. We coming out, we scoring. We treating it like Madden ball. We scoring. This is it. Big plays, all that. First quarter. Once we get up like 3 touchdowns, we gonna go ahead and go ahead and put the reserves in and just let them rock out and let the starters chill. You know what I'm saying? That's the game. Unless you a team, like I say, if you're a team fighting for a spot, this ain't gonna work for you. But if you're a team with a guaranteed playoff spot, that's your strategy. The Browns, specifically, playing the Bengals. All right. The Bengals gonna play all their starters. The Bengals ain't got shit to lose. But the Bengals, because of all the trash talking all year between Bengals and Browns players, Bengals and Browns fans, because of this, I don't expect nothing less than the Bengals to come in there and try to beat the Browns. If for no other reason, so they don't finish below 500. If for no other reason, it's so they don't finish below 500. Because finishing below 500 for the Bengals starts conversations that they're not ready to accept. Period. It's just conversations they're not willing to accept. But the Browns, I feel like the Browns should come out and run the score up. Now, what I will say is, I wouldn't play Joe Patonio. I wouldn't play Joe. Joe could sit. If Miles wants to play, he could play. I would not play Shelby Harris. I would not play Anthony Walker. I would not play. Hold on one moment. Yo, all right. Appreciate the patience. Let's get back to it. Oh yeah, Browns and Bengals. That's where I was at. Yeah, so like I say, the Bengals would love nothing more than to win just on the strength of not finishing below 500. They can't ruin the Browns' chances of getting into the playoffs, or they can't ruin their seeding. The Browns are locked in at the 5th spot, regardless of what happens. All right. Um, you don't want to go into this game as a Browns fan or as a Browns organization. And even if you do lose, you don't want to lose by a significant margin, because then those optics kind of destroy your more momentum right now. So ideally, the Browns want to go out there and win every game. They want to go win. Like this is what you want to do. You want to win. So like I said, I want the Browns to play their starters. Not all their starters. Joe Bitonio not play. Shelby Harris not play. All the older guys don't need to play. The young guys need to play. Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, I would limit them to a half a game. I don't care how that work out. I would limit them to a half a game. So listen, okay, look, let me hold on, because I'm thinking as I'm talking to you all, I'm thinking too, right? And like I was saying before, I would rather you put your starters out there and blow the game out of proportion, treat it like Madden, because ultimately this 17th game is really an extra game. For those who have been watching football for years and decades and fell in love in the game when it was at its super roughest, we're used to 16 games. Some were even used to 12 games. So this is an extra game. This is a stats game. People cry, they just be playing for the stats. This is what this week for. This week for solidify your name in whatever race that you are participating in. Offensive player, defensive player, coach, record, points, whatever it is. Whatever the record is that you're shooting for, this is the game for that. All right? You got one half to get your rocks off, and then it's over. All right? For those who fighting to still get in the playoffs, you got to do what you got to do to win. You know what I'm saying? For us Browns, what I need the Browns to do is work on being explosive, right? That's what I would want. I would want to see Joe Flacco. I would want to see Kevin Stefanski come out and call explosive plays for each one of his players that he's going to use in the playoffs. And I would just rotate the plays. One for Cooper, then one for Ford, one for Njoku, then one for Hunt, one for Elijah Moore, you know what I'm saying? One for Tillman, one for Bell, one for then rotate back to Cooper. You know what I'm saying? Well, in the first half, yeah. No. In the first half, I'll probably just rotate the tops, right? One to Cooper, one to Njoku, one to Moore, one to Ford, one to Hunt. And I would just rotate the explosive play. I would sprinkle in an explosive play for a Bell or for a Tillman in the rotation of the drives. You know what I'm saying? I would sprinkle in some Pierre Strong on the drives, just on the strength, right? And then in the second half, once you put the game away, I'll bring in DTR and I'll just run it, right? DTR, Strong, I will probably bring up because you probably going to deactivate some guys, a few guys. So I would definitely bring up another running back and let them, and I would just run all type of crazy run packages the whole second half and play actions, right? because it's wintertime. It's gonna be cold. 9 times out of 10, if we play Buffalo, Indiana plays in the dome. That's the AFC. The AFC South actually works out for the Browns, right? Because if the Colts win, they play in the dome. If Jacksonville wins, they play in Florida. If Houston wins, they play in Texas. So in these places, the weather is going to be nice. It's going to be hot. It's going to look good. All right. But in that second round, unless they're playing Miami, you play Baltimore. If it's Buffalo, if it's whoever it is, it's going to be cold. And from that point on, it's going to be cold until you get to the Super Bowl, where it's being played in Vegas. And Vegas is hot. All right. So, the Browns, work on running the ball, work on being explosive. You know what I'm saying? Third down plays. I would just want to get all my guys that I'm going to need on the offensive end. I just want to give them a final feeling of being impactful, having a confidence high, and ready to play for when the playoffs. Because you don't know who you're gonna need. Listen, the playoffs is so strategic. When you really get to breaking down and people like, oh, this player got more foot speed than this player, and I want to always isolate, it start getting nasty. All right? Really start getting picked apart. So, with that being said, though, too, let me make some picks. So let me pick some games. Let me pick some games. All right. And we're gonna start diving more into the sports betting. I know a lot of people have been asking me about the sports betting and tapping into that. We're gonna really start getting into it. You know what I'm saying? I just ain't set up my accounts fully yet. So I don't want to be on here talking about sports betting with people and I'm not actively betting with you. All right. I think that's disrespectful. I just ain't that type of guy. So, but let's go through this. All right. Steelers and Ravens, 4:30 on a Saturday. Ravens at home. I don't think the Ravens gonna play with the Steelers. I don't think the Ravens want the Steelers in the playoffs. I don't think the Ravens want to give the Steelers any chance of making the playoffs. So I think they're gonna do what they did to Miami, put the game out of reach, and then let the backups play. Colts and Texans. I ain't gonna lie to you. Anthony Richardson not playing, right? He been out most of the year. He out of here, right? It has been Gardner Minshew. Gardner good though. I ain't gonna lie. But I ain't gonna lie. I want to see the Texans. I'm gonna pick the Texans. I'm going to pick the Texans 27-24 over the Colts. And I'm picking the Texans. All right. Browns and Bengals. I'm going to go. It's probably gonna be like a 24-28 game. Browns 28-24 over the Bengals. Bucks over Panthers. I'm just gonna pick the Bucks. I'm gonna give Baker a chance to not go under 500 after squandering a chance to solidify a playoff spot last week. The Lions are going against the Vikings. People would think the Lions will probably rest their starters. They might. But the Lions probably going to try to win this game. We'll go Vikings. Let Nick Mullins play. Vikings put up 35. We're going to go 35-31 over the Lions. Jets and Patriots is really an insignificant game. I'm going to go over under in this game, and I'm going to go under 45 points in this game. Um, Saints versus Falcons. I got the Saints winning this game. Saints, I say Saints by 9. Saints by 9, by at least 9 points. Jaguars and Titans. Jaguars should win this game. Notice I said the should. The Jaguars should win this game, and they should win this game quite convincingly. Um, so I'm gonna pick the Jags. I'm gonna pick the Jags by a touchdown. Cardinals versus Seahawks. Cardinals have been playing playoff spoiler for the past 2 or 3 weeks, and I like it. I like it. It's good momentum ending the season off after it's been a crazy season for them. Uh, the Seahawks, I don't know what they want to do. Uh, but I'm going to pick the Cardinals in this game. I'm going to pick the Cardinals by 3. Um, I don't know what the score going to be. I'm just going to pick the Cardinals by 3. Bears versus Packers. I think this is a win in your end scenario. Um, Winner of this game locks up a playoff spot in the NFC. Um, I'm gonna go with the Bears, man. Shout out to Justin Fields. I'm just gonna say Justin Fields find a way to get done. I'm just gonna pick the Bears. I don't got no specifics for. I'm just gonna pick the Bears. Chargers and Chiefs. I think the Chiefs try to put up numbers on the Chargers going into the playoffs, so I'm gonna pick the Chiefs. Broncos and Raiders. Um, Raiders have played very good going into this back end of this season. The Broncos picked it up as well. Division game to end the year. Uh, I'm gonna pick the Raiders, and I'm gonna say they end with the same record this year. I'm gonna pick the Raiders. Eagles versus Giants. Eagles need a win just for morale basis. I'm gonna pick the Giants. I'm gonna pick the Eagles. Rams versus Niners. Both of these teams are in. So to be honest, I don't think these teams will play their starters. I think this is a game where they probably won't play their starters. They don't need to. Cowboys versus Commanders. Um, man, we don't pick the Cowboys. There's no reason for the Cowboys not to win that game unless they rest their starters. And Commanders kind of need a win, so it wouldn't shock me for that. Bills versus Dolphins. Whoo! The problem is for me, right? Is I actually like Buffalo. I just have liked the franchise since I was a youngin. So I like Buffalo, but I think the Dolphins might come out and smack them. I think I think Buffalo misses the playoffs this year. Buffalo and Pittsburgh, I think, missed the playoffs this year. And as much as I like Indy, I would rather see the Colts in. So my playoff picture. This is my playoff picture. I don't really know all the specifics of how this works, but I'm just gonna pick the teams that I think gonna end up in the playoffs. So I think it's gonna be Baltimore at 1, Miami at 2. Let's see, Buffalo. Okay, Baltimore finishes. Why would you call me right now? Baltimore finishes 14-3. Miami finishes 12-5. Kansas City finishes 11-6. Jacksonville finishes 10-7. The Browns finish 12-5. Buffalo finishes 10-7. Indiana finishes 9-8. Houston finishes 10-7. And Pittsburgh Pittsburgh finishes 9-8, which means 9 times 10 Houston. Let me see, Jacksonville will be in, and then it'll be Houston. Oh, and there's still one more slot. Oh, so I gotta choose one. No, it's two, right? Let me see, Miami. So then it'll be Buffalo, Indiana, Houston. There isn't a world where both Indiana and Houston gets in. It's one or the other. All right, so then Pittsburgh don't make it. So this is my dilemma with this, right? Because I like all rivalries, right? And in this sense, would I like having three division rivals? Would it be three AFC North teams in the playoffs? That would add sweetness to the story of the Browns winning the Super Bowl. The fact that it was all three of those teams in the playoffs. But once they lose to Baltimore, it kind of lightweight knocks them out. Buffalo losing helps them, but Buffalo still had 10 wins. So Buffalo probably is going to be in, and then Houston will have 10 wins. So, okay, yeah. So it'll be Baltimore, Miami, KC, Jacksonville, Cleveland, Houston, and Buffalo. Those my AFC teams. On the NFC side, I would rather see Seattle and New Orleans in. I would rather see Seattle win. Yeah, I don't think I picked them to win, but I would rather see them win. I do like what Green Bay doing, and I think it's a sweet story for Green Bay to win and get in. Oh, Chicago eliminated. So Chicago will only be playing playoff spoiler anyway. It's hard not to root for Justin Fields, y'all. I ain't gonna hold you. It's hard not to root for Justin, bro. I want to see Justin excel. Atlanta still has. Is that who played Seattle? Atlanta? Oh, they play the Saints. Only one of them could get in. I like Atlanta though. I like Atlanta. I like their weapons. Minnesota win. This NFC picture looks so crazy. 3 slots left. I want New Orleans in the playoffs though. I personally want New Orleans in the playoffs, and I personally want Seattle in the playoffs. But Baker might pull it off though. You know what? Baker might pull it off. Can Baker pull it off? He might. He might pull it off. You know what? Baker, you know what, Baker? I hope you pull it off. You know what? You know what? Yeah, pull that off, Baker. Let's go ahead. We go. I'm gonna count Baker in. I'm gonna actually give Baker his props for that. This is a game against the Panthers. He should go and show the fuck out. I'm gonna go ahead and pencil him in. They must be in a win and they in scenario. Then New Orleans will win, so that'll put them in, and then it'll be down to. Oh no, that's it. Baker and then win, that's 6, and then there's only one more slot left. So, ooh. I like Seattle's team, though. But Seattle was supposed to have been got in, and they fucked up. All Green Bay got to do is win, and they in. So, virtually, if Green Bay and Tampa Bay win, it don't matter. None of this shit matters. Unless New Orleans and Tampa Bay share a tiebreaker. That's interesting. I'll go with Baker and Justin Love, though. You know what? We can do that. We can go Baker and Justin and Jordan Love in the playoffs. We can go do that because both of those teams got good defenses. New Orleans and Seattle got good defenses too, but Tampa Bay and Green Bay got good defenses. So we can do that. Hey, DeeTrynt game. I know this last little like 5 or 10 minutes, I kind of just been like thinking out loud, kind of brainstorming this shit. Like I said at the beginning, I really ain't sat down and got real intricate with the football as I've been. But just looking at from what I know and what I've been keeping up with, these playoffs gonna be fire. You know, you go back, check the tape. I said this is probably going to be one of the best football seasons that we've had in a long time. And I don't think this season has disappointed. Between the drama levels for every team, the different storylines, the different paths of getting here, teams have fallen off or gained momentum in these last little 6 weeks, last little quarter of the season. It has been amazing, to say the least. But we gonna stop it there with the Browns. I'm predicting, like I say, the Browns over the Bengals 28-24, somewhere in that realm. I believe David Njoku goes over 1,000 yards receiving for the season. There's a good chance that Amari Cooper may not play. I think Elijah Moore has a good game. I think Ford has a good game. I don't think he'll hit 1,000 per se, but I do think he'll get up to 900. I think he'll flirt with it on this team. And that's no knock on the Bengals. But at this point, you know, I would predict, like I said, the Bengals will play their starters, but I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, they just want to go out the season and not have no more injuries in the offseason, no other craziness. They always got to deal with T. Higgins. T. Higgins might opt out to not play anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so look, but it's been a pleasure rocking with y'all. I shall return. We got to talk about these Cavs. It is January time. It's post in-season tournament time. We're getting right close to All-Star time. And the NBA season has been crazy. College basketball has been going crazy too as well. Bronny has been playing. A lot of these young stars have been doing their thing. You know, it's really the first open season post-COVID where everybody could move freely and things is kind of back to normal. And it's been very interesting. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. I missed y'all much. It's been a pleasure tonight. DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, Industry Sports, streaming on multiple media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Follow us on IG at Industry Sports or at DeeTrynt. If you missed the live streaming, please catch the replays on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Radio Public. Just look for Industry Sports, like, subscribe, share, and there you'll find Game Changer Sports Talk with DeeTrynt. Like, subscribe, share. Give us your feedback. Make sure you check out the website, InDaStreetzSportz.com. Get all your latest, you know what I'm saying, info that you need to have. And if you have somebody who want to be spotlighted, make sure y'all hit us up on there. Or y'all can email us, DeeTrynt, DeeTrynt @gmail.com, or InDaStreetzSportz, all one word, InDaStreetzSportz @gmail.com. It's been a pleasure, y'all. It's always love. Be easy. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Stay dangerous. One.